All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. I have a mic on the whole time, but I wasn't really talking, so it kind of worked out. Hello. So today we're going to do... I don't know. I just wanted to start with a little bit of chatting. There's a couple things that I thought could be interesting to talk about. But then, like, I don't know. I just thought there'd be some fun things I could do before we get to Dark Tide today, since we may not play Dark Tide the whole time. So a big thing that I wanted to look at today was I was gonna plan to do like a fun bit stream of like I want to do a fun bit with the stream of like let's do a Sova Jet stand here. I wanted to potentially do a fun stream about like, here is like let's okay, so Sova, I'm a Jets fan, right? It's a sad existence, I know. But football season is coming up, and it's truly time for my immediate hopium and then crash out to begin. And one of the things I intended to do going into this year was I really wanted to like have be a little more involved, have a little more football involvement on the stream. So I thought, what better way to do that than to start that off with talking about like doing a prediction of how do I think the Jets season is gonna go, and we'll do a fun thing where I'll take a look at the schedule, I throw it into Photopia, and then I'll and I'll mark whether I think everything's gonna be a win or a loss, and we'll kind of draw on it and we'll play there. But then all of a sudden, my music's too loud. Sorry, didn't realize that. All of a sudden I realize, or I go on to Twitter, I will only ever call it this, and I see this image, and boy howdy does this hit me something fierce, multiple levels. Like there's so many things wrong with this, right? Like there's so many things inherently wrong with this. Like, I'll bring it down here. If you say something in chat, it'll show up later. So like, sure, integral to the history of the NFL, I could see, the 49ers, the Packers, the Steelers, the Patriots, the Cowboys, right? Like, I get. As much as we love to meme on the Cowboys for how they have been lately, right? It's still, like, they're still important. The fact that they have created the moniker for America's team and all that is incredibly important, but like Baltimore for historic, a little interesting. I don't know if I would say necessarily that's because of Baltimore, but instead more maybe of its player, one that specifically escaped a murder charge. The Broncos are same boat. The Giants have had a couple of the Giants I would quantify, relatively quantify. There's so many things. The bottom of this list is incredibly insane. The concept that the concept honestly that the Lions have an irrelevancy, or mostly irrelevant, is pretty crazy. But what it kind of tells me is that the person who made this list, right? Like the person that made this list, I believe wholeheartedly to be under the age of 21, because anybody who is a fan of the NFL would like understand the real history amongst a lot of these teams. And we're gonna fix this ourselves today, and that's where I'm gonna hit up this tier list. So I'm just gonna go through this in the order that it's provided, which seems to be alphabetical by city. So we're gonna start right off with the Arizona Cardinals, and I've got the image here so that we can reference it, right? So they put this in LOL, which is fucking crazy. An important note to make about the Cardinals, right? So a lot of people may not know, but they were truly actually Chicago's first team. Because Chicago Bears were not actually always in Chicago. I believe they were what was it? Well, and technically, I know the Cardinals were not technically always. They're funky, but they were, I believe, they were in Decatur. Yes. But I don't remember the Bears. What was their? I need to see what they were the Decatur Staleys. Then they became the Chicago Staleys, and then they became the Chicago Bears. Right. And granted, it's not a long time. But Arizona, the Cardinals, let's just even start there, right? The Cardinals, they started in Racine, Wisconsin. Oh, actually, I think I might be misremembering. I think I'm misremembering this, actually. They moved to Chicago a year after Chicago. Okay, fair. I guess partly because there's a lot of people that point to Racine. Racine, Wisconsin is kind of part of Chicago. I've seen this before. So, whatever. That part I'm not knowledgeable about. But regardless, so these are one of two Chicago teams that went to Chicago around this same time, right? And that's important because this is the team that will run into a large number of historic things in the NFL. First of all, the fact that it clung on as far as it could because it also was one of the earlier merged teams to exist, where it was in the Great Depression that a couple of teams would combine so that they could survive. And thus we had Card Pitt. But what's most important about the Cardinals is when they moved to St. Louis. They moved to St. Louis in 1960, and that is where they lived for nearly 27 years. And that established St. Louis football. Because, the Cardinals leave, but then it is not incredibly long after that we get the Rams to move into town. And that's, like I said, incredibly important because that pushes why they wanted the Rams so bad, but then also why when they moved out, because the Rams moved there then in 95 and then left to go back to LA. What was that? 20 or not even, it was like 20, I guess like 16. So yeah, St. Louis had football for so long, and sorry, they've gone in and out of having football for so long. So, but like that all started because of the Cardinals. Now, see, that's the thing, right? Like, this is about the true historic. This is about historic relevancy, not about how successful these teams were. The Cardinals have not been good their whole lives. Yes, like that is a fact. We're not judging, but this is not historic relevance to the NFL, right? Right. The top tier is integral to the history of the NFL, right? It's not about how many Super Bowls did you win, right? This is about how integral to the history. How would the NFL look different if you didn't exist? And with the Cardinals, it would demonstrably so, but not to such an extent that we wouldn't have other parts of our history, right? It's more that, if anything, that maybe St. Louis would have never gotten a team. Maybe it would have been someone else. Maybe Chicago would have never had a distinct number of people. And that's kind of why also you will see there are a lot of older people still who remain Chicago Cardinals fans and St. Louis Cardinals fans, but they had it better. I think most of them ended up transitioning to the Rams when they moved into town. Now, the Atlanta Falcons are definitely a tough one. I mean, going back into comparison, they put them into mostly irrelevant, and I kind of have to agree. There's not much with the Falcons that, other than a number of key notable events, that like really indicate them as like being great. Like, yes, they've got the Dirty Bird and they've got the 28-3 meme, but what else than that? You know, that's kind of that's a tough aspect to push there. So I would argue that they have been largely irrelevant because they unfortunately just haven't done enough. I would love for this to change more in the future, but it just hasn't. And you could put them here conceptually, but I think they do belong. All right, and then Baltimore, I would say has had like, maybe put them in, had an error or two. I am not counting their time previously as the Cleveland Browns, right? The Cleveland Browns will stay just as the Cleveland Browns. I do not want, because technically, yes, all of the ownership group that is the Ravens now were the old Browns. And that maybe could be said as the argument for this, right? Because I would argue, if you were looking at it as the Baltimore Ravens and then including essentially the ownership group, right? Like the original ownership group, and like including that history of the classic Browns, then sure. Like I would see this then as being accurate, that the Baltimore Ravens going all the way back to early 30s, 20s, Cleveland Browns, that would be like historic. I would argue honestly that it's integral to the history of the NFL, truly. But and then if you were looking at the Browns as we know them, which is from 2000, two? Hold on, that's wrong. I need to look at the I have to look them up every now and then. 99. Okay, that's what it was. 98, 99-ish. When they returned. So, yes, like they if you're going to count the 99 to 2026 Cleveland Browns as their own thing, then yes, I would say this would be accurate in that case. But I don't think most people look at it that way. And historically and legally speaking, you can't. It is legally, like in the NFL's rules, guidelines, and laws, the Baltimore Ravens have existed since 1996. I want to say it was 6, right? To now. And then the Cleveland Browns existed from the 1940s to 1996, suspended operations from 96 to 98, and then resumed in 99, right? That is the history. That is the kept history of the NFL. That is how, legally speaking, those franchises exist. So because of that, I have to put them here. They have definitely, I would say arguably, they are important because obviously moving out of Baltimore was a crazy big thing. Or moving into Baltimore, sorry, was a crazy big thing because of the Colts moving out of Baltimore. Sorry, misspoke. It was a crazy big thing, but then also leaving Cleveland to become the Ravens is significantly important. And then their 2 Super Bowl eras were honestly distinctly interesting, and I think that they have had a lot of stuff. You could argue to put them here because they've only won those 1 Super Bowls, but they've made it enough into playoffs where I think you could put them here. And that one way or the other, they have kept themselves relevant. And then I would also argue that the Bills go here. They have this is mostly recent from the 90s team to now. And it's 2 eras. It's the 90s team and now, right? We are in a Bills era, and then there was a 90s Bills era as well. So that's kind of I would argue that kind of fits the definition. They're an important piece of history with being an AFL team and obviously being part of the merger, but they weren't doing anything really in that time frame. So I would kind of keep to the argument and obviously OJ Simpson. But I would still argue that, again, all of that really only culminated to that era, and then they dip off, and then they have a new era now. The Carolina Panthers, I would say, live in the mostly irrelevant. I would say it's below, that would be below the Falcons. The biggest thing because they've had 2 years that they've gone to Super Bowl. You could argue they belong and had a year or 2. But they're too young first. They're too young. But then they never won any of them. And one of those years felt like a fluke. So, and it's not 2015. So that's kind of where it's just they just can't stay around, And I know that would arguably more of an argument for era than year, but nothing else has been historically relevant, in my opinion. Okay, so the Bears are integral to the history of the NFL. They're one of the founding teams, but then have, versus the Cardinals, right? Arguably, these two should be linked, right? And I would get it if somebody were to say to me, yes, these two should be in the same tier. The reason I would argue that the Bears move up is obviously the 86 Bears are a crazy historical aspect to the NFL. It literally revolutionized defense in the NFL. Defenses were never the same since those Bears. You cannot quantify that importance. But also, my other argument is that they've stayed a little bit more relevant than the Cardinals. Basically, a lot of tiebreakers are going to be performance rated. While this is not a performance-based tier, performance is kind of a tiebreaker. It's tough for me. Again, I would argue that maybe this should go here, but I want to put it here just for a little bit of extra cultural or like historical significance because of the founding of the team. Paul Brown leaves the Browns, the team literally named after him, and starts the Bengals. And the Brown family still retains the rights to this day. And, you know, everything about the Bengals was such a copy of how the Browns were working, but they never necessarily met the same success that those old Browns did. But it was still like, it was historically significant, and I think that matters. And they've stayed relatively relevant. And so the Browns do have to go here. How many NFL championships did they win? What was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. Skip a year. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh, no. Hold on. Is wrong. Sorry. They had 4 championships. Sorry. But then in the 50s and then the Browns, prior to leaving and becoming the Ravens, were perennial playoff appearances. Again, had some of the Haslams having some of the most historic ownership changes, moving the team out of Cleveland, going to Baltimore. I know that's technically part of Baltimore Ravens history, I know, but it's also part of the Browns history, so they're kind of attached to the hip. They've had some of the most historic players. Yes, it's an incredibly long time ago and it's old, but that's history. That's part of historical significance. The NFL wouldn't be the same today without the Browns, especially due to Coach Brown. So that they have to go up there. They are truly integral to the history of the NFL. The Cowboys go up here. Honestly, I would argue that it should be this. So, but this is okay. This is right here. The Cowboys, they're America's team. Like, yes, you maybe could argue they should go here, but they've hit too much of a fan base. They just have. Like, the NFL wouldn't be the same product without the Cowboys. It just wouldn't. It's my argument kind of between these two tiers of, like, if you ripped their history from the NFL, would it be drastically different? Yes. But would most of it be the same? In this argument, it's yes. In this argument, it's no. So for me, it would just puts them over the top. Broncos, I would argue, had an era or two, specifically because of the John Elway to Peyton Manning eras. They go down here. All of them are less historically significant, but they have mattered to the history of the NFL. This one's for John. Peyton Manning's crazy statistical anomalies with the Broncos in his early time with the Broncos, and then going out on top. Crazy historical benefit to the Manning name. Great. The Lions are tough. They're founding wise. They had many NFL championships, right? Like they did. How many? Let's count. How many did they have? How many NFL championships? And obviously these are pre-merger, but they had 4 championships pre-merger. So this was, then they hit the Lane curse, and that's a whole thing. But, the Lane curse kind of is relevant too. But, is it really? It's one era, The Lions have had one era, and then you could argue, they had. Then they had Barry Sanders, right? So it's like, do they go here? Do they go here and maybe just above the Bengals? I'll maybe put him here. I know technically it's more than just a year, but I feel like it's just so early on that it was less of a true era and more of like a, like, yes, it's kind of an era, but small steady years and then completely washed out because it was so egregiously bad afterward, you know? And that's where I think it really takes it down. The Broncos relatively were still fairly relevant for a good chunk of those histories, especially between Elway and Manning. But, you know, in a little bit of a resurgence now. They've oftentimes kept themselves in a realm of relevancy, but man, the Lions did not for a long time. All right, and then the Packers I'm going to put here. They are 1 year younger, or 1 year older than, 1 year younger than the Bears and the Cardinals, but they obviously we have the Lombardi Trophy from Coach Vince Lombardi, who is from the Packers. Like, you just cannot, out of the question. Integral, out of the question. The Texans are just too young. Originally, in the original image, they were in the lull category, and this was a lull category. And I felt, well, the Cardinals and Jets aren't going to be down there again. And I knew it was only going to be the Texans. And honestly, my argument is just that they're too young. Yes, you could argue that other teams aren't that much older than them in the Panthers and the Ravens, but it's just basically the Texans were formed, and because of various rule changes that happened, they were crippled from the start. So were the Browns and the Ravens, yes, but the Texans had like a distinctly different setup. You know, and the same with the Jaguars. So that became like a whole thing, and thus why I'm just putting them in too young. I just don't think they've had enough. I mean, you could argue it's been 24 years, I guess, to be frank. Maybe we could get rid of this and it just goes here, you know? You know what? I think I talked myself out of it. Let's delete the row, right? And let's do that. Let's just remove that category entirely. And there is no just lull. Like they're mostly irrelevant. They've really not done anything. They're probably done the least in terms of NFL history. They've had great players, don't get me wrong. They have had a large number of players, and they were a great example of why you should invest in a offensive line, but many things in NFL history prove that you should invest in an offensive line. And then, okay, so I'm gonna put the Colts in historic. So many things, like Johnny Unitas, you know, those early Super Bowls, their participation in Super Bowl III, ending up winning Super Bowl, I think it was 5. And then packing everything up, moving over to Baltimore, from Baltimore, moving to Indianapolis. Who the hell is Mel Kiper draft? There are many historical things to point to the Colts. They likely will stay to this side of history, but there's too many events where I can't necessarily honestly think that I could look at the NFL the same if the Colts never existed. I'm gonna put the Jags, maybe. They're kind of the same as the Panthers, to be honest. I'll put the Panthers up one a little bit. The Jaguars are interesting, and they've had really cool years, but again, just never really, I feel like, hit it enough historically. I feel like we're living history now, so it's recency feeling makes me want to think that, like, well, we haven't finished this yet, so I don't know where to slot it, but I feel like they're too historically significant here. Can you get in between? Thank you. But we are living in history, and Super Bowl IV is important, you know, because it was the solidification of what happened in Super Bowl III. And it meant that the merger was going, it really held down the nail that the merger matters. So, and we got a trophy. We have a Lamar Hunt trophy. Like, yeah. I'm going to put the Raiders kind of here. Actually, I'll put them above here. The Raiders are very important to history. John Madden, Al Davis doing a large number of things. The way that he challenged the NFL for rules. He was incredibly important for that merger. He was a big driving force in that merger. And again, the NFL just wouldn't be the same without the Raiders. I struggle to put him here. I struggle to put him here a little bit. I guess there's a lot of recency bias going on. There's a lot of recency bias. I think maybe what I'll do to satiate that, I think I'll put them here. I just feel like I can't put them over here. But they are important. They are important. Chargers, yeah, not much would really change. I will argue that I'll put them here, but they always somehow end up in the back end, which sucks because I always liked the Chargers as a kid because I always liked that they have a lightning bolt, and then I always feel like that they so many times the Schottenheimer era, they got so close to greatness and never could do anything with it, and so like yeah, you can argue that they had a year or two, but like it just. None of it ever mattered. All right, so the Rams. Let's remind ourselves. Hey, Los Angeles and LA, like Los Angeles, California, like fans who don't like the Rams because they don't like the fact that they recently moved. Hey, let's double check the history of the Rams. Okay, Cleveland Rams, 1936 to 1942, suspended operations for a year, and then became the Los Angeles Rams from 1946 to 1994. I don't want to hear. Look, I get it. Most of us, right, knew them as the St. Louis Rams for most of our lives. That, like a lot of people, like. There's a lot of us in my age group, right, that like only ever knew them as the St. Louis Rams because they were like, for me, for example, they were the Rams a year after they moved to St. Louis a year after I was born, right? So like, I get it. People feel like that they were always the St. Louis Rams and then went to Los Angeles for no reason. But the Rams have most of their history in LA, right? However, I would argue that they still had an era or two. Obviously we've got, they weren't much for NFL championships. They had a couple, yes. Sorry. They had a couple. I mean, they had let's see, what was it for? We had 2 pre-merger championships and then 2 Super Bowls. So a good argument for their relevancy obviously helps. But then the kind of clear, example, right, to get to is Eric Dickerson, right? One of the most historic players. Now you could argue that is the players, but he was a big push going into what the culture of the Rams would do. Actually, honestly, though, it's tough to say. Honestly, based on other things that I've said, I'll maybe put them here. They do matter to history, but actually there's really not a crazy amount of things that really could change. So you know what? I'll bump them down. They've had great years. Don't get me wrong. Greatest show on turf, an amazing couple years. You know, the Rams now are still very strong. You know, they've been fairly strong since 2018, since Sean McVay, the Sean McVay era. That was honestly why I wanted to put him here, was the idea of the greatest show on turf, those early 50s, and then, you know, and then now, the Sean McVay era. You know what? And I will, because the Sean McVay era is what led us to the NFL as we know it now, from the whole analytics perspective. Which, look, whether or not you feel it's a good or bad thing, it's historically significant. The Dolphins, I would argue, are historic. Probably put them here. The reason being, obviously, the undefeated season. Right, the undefeated season is a crazy important era aspect. It hasn't been beat still. I don't think it ever will be at this point. There's too much parity, and it's just going to be really tough. You know, and that's just how that is. You know, like, you may not like the fact that the Dolphins are, you know, above maybe the Bills or whatever, or even the Chiefs, but they do matter to its history, and the NFL would not be the same without it. I mean, Dan Marino, a bunch of things. Don Shula was the winningest coach for the longest time until Bill Belichick. Vikings, I would maybe put here, probably a little, maybe above the Lions. They've many times they have had a good year. But that's where it ends. It always ends there, right? It's just how it goes every time. Randy Moss, Dante Culpepper, you know, the Frank Tarkenton, you know. It's just, there's always something, but then it just immediately fizzles. We could honestly I'll put the Patriots here, as much as I hate to put them even above the Cowboys. I don't know. I put these two here. I wonder, honestly, if I'll maybe actually put the Packers here. But yes, actually, let's put them above the Bears too. I think that matters. It's tough with the Browns versus the Patriots in terms of putting them above each other, because this is like critical to early history of the NFL, critical to modern history of the NFL. It's very tough to say. Right? Do you want recency bias or whatever? But if you're gauging history, then arguably, right, early is what matters the most. So I'll do that for the sake of, like, the history is what I'm putting in importance, but they are incredibly important, and these two are interchangeable depending on your preference. That being said, I do argue that at least, like, they're both very important. You know, the Patriots change many aspects of modern NFL. Tom Brady is crazy. Bill Belichick was crazy. The fact that Bill Belichick was not a first ballot Hall of Famer is insane. Absolutely insane. Just crazy. Crazy. I'm putting the Saints in had a year or two. I'll maybe put them above the Bengals. Actually, I'll put them here. Man, they had that Super Bowl season. They've had, and granted, you could argue that they maybe had an era, right? They had an era. Like, the whole Drew Brees era is the era. Because this has also had an era or two, but I really often put it in the culmination of this part, you know. But and like Bounty Gate was a whole thing, but I maybe would want to argue here. I think realistically, I feel like I can't put I can't, as cool as the last era of the Saints was, I just can't outweigh it over the then, because then I feel like I would have to bump the Vikings up, because the history for the Saints up to that point, bad. I know Arch Manning was a really always rated as a great quarterback on a terrible team, but that's it, you know. So, yeah. The Giants are historic for maybe a couple reasons. Like, they had their Bill Parcells Super Bowls. They had all the Manning era is really important. But then one of the things, especially about the New York Giants, which maybe also would be part of bumping up the Rams, as I believe. I'm double checking some history here. What was it? I think I remembered that. I thought I recalled that the Giants were part of the first televised NFL game. Oh no, that was the Brooklyn Dodgers. Okay. Was it first color? Nope. Okay. No, I thought it was the Giants, but I guess it was the Brooklyn Dodgers. Okay. I was gonna say they had some significance for having the first televised football game, but apparently that's not the case. So I would argue then maybe it's in those two eras. Maybe they would put them down here. Yeah, they've had a number of Super Bowl wins, right? Like 4 Super Bowl wins is not nothing, right? It like surely is not nothing. But I think other teams have done more historically. You maybe could argue this, right? Now that I think about it more, like I kind of want to say this, but I wonder if maybe it should go here. I think maybe that might be more accurate. All right, this is a really tough one because realistically, if the New York Jets don't exist, arguably, maybe could the Raiders have beaten the Baltimore Colts that year? Could they have beaten them? Maybe so, right? Could the Raiders have beaten the Baltimore Colts that Super Bowl 3? Maybe. But as it stands, without the New York Jets, we do not have the NFL we have today. That merger was likely to fall off, and the AFL NFL would have had a very interesting history. One of them likely wouldn't have existed today. And there would have been a various merger of desperation, right? A lot of people point that the NFL won the merger because the NFL is the name that stayed around, right? But that is not entirely true, right? We are looking at, yes, the NFL was one of the more popular products, but the AFL was doing a lot And that's why the NFL was still interested, because there were other copycat leagues before and afterward that just existed and died off. No merger required. And for some of those, they actually are teams that came aboard. I believe the Browns are one of that. So that's a big thing. Is there were many football leagues out there. The AFL is the only one that the NFL was willing to have the discussion of merger with. So it's really hard for me not to put them here. But part of me does. It's like one of those things of like, they were there, and then after that, the Jets are such a roller coaster history. Everybody thinks that the Jets were always bad because they've never been to the Super Bowl since, but they've had many AFC Championship, appearances since, and since then, and they've been in the playoffs many times. It's just often those have been paired with, those have just unfortunately also often been paired then, where then the next year they're complete dog shit. So, that's kind of the tough part, but their AFC championship count is not very high, right? They have actually just won their division, which granted you have to keep in mind the Colts, which historically, have performed better, were in their division for a very long time. It did beat them consistently. That being said, they still made appearances in playoff appearances in 81, 82, 85, 86, 91, 98, 2001, 2002, 2004, 2006, 2009, and 2010. A big thing about those late 90s, early 2000s, right? You'll notice that they're almost every other year. And the big thing with that was that was kind of the Jets thing in the early 2000s, is that they were we're going to the Super Bowl. Holy shit, we suck. Yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl. Holy shit, we're picking number 2 overall. Yeah, we're on the doorstep of the Super Bowl, and we're 0-16. Like, obviously they were never 0-16, but that was, that they've been around in the playoffs. It's just that they were the classic chokers, kind of, like they just were never a team that you could rely on in the playoffs, basically. It honestly, in many ways, it's kind of like modern day Milwaukee Brewers in baseball. But it's hard. But like the reality of like the fact that just the whole thing about the difference between these two categories, right, is the aspect that, like, would the NFL be demonstrably different if this team didn't exist? And the answer is yes. It's just, unfortunately, they've been the Jets. Especially lately, especially since 2010, they've had 16 years of true, utter failure. And that's really hard to ignore, right? But the same could be said about the Cleveland Browns. So, because of that, I will put them in the far back. And if anybody else on this list is going to go up there, which they will, they're going ahead of them, right? If the Raiders won that championship game and then won the Super Bowl, they would be up here, and the Jets would honestly probably be down here, right? Like, let's be realistic. If the Raiders won the AFL championship game and then went to the Super Bowl and beat the Colts, right? This list would look like this. Right? They would look like this. Arguably, it would look like this. It probably would look just like this. But it's not. It's not how history went. So with the way that history went, unfortunately for everybody that hates the Jet, that loves to hate the Jets, it's like this. And I know I'm a Jets fan. I know that. I know people are going to say that I'm biased, but Super Bowl III is insanely important. Like, half of these teams may not even exist without it. And that's why it's important. That's why it matters. All right. The Eagles, I maybe would put here. They had a lot of early championships and then have had multiple eras. So you could maybe argue them here. I kind of almost want to put them here though, because I literally argue it as they have had maybe 3 eras. And one of those eras pretty short. But it's very early history Eagles and then modern Eagles is what I would mark as 2 distinct eras. And the modern Eagles have a bit of an up and down. They're a little bit of a roller coaster sometimes, but I would argue that they are there. And then, you know, the Fog Bowl game is obviously really important and all that, you know, and the Buddy Ryan era is also still important. You know, Randall Cunningham is really important. Like, you could make the argument of putting them here, but I feel like with who I've got here, I feel like this to me makes the most sense. Honestly, I want to put the Steelers here. They were one of the earliest teams to 4 Super Bowl championships. They were the first team to go to 6. They have always been good, relevant, and are historically significant. You know, they've had a large number of historic wins. They've had various records and firsts and milestones for the NFL. They matter a lot to the history of the NFL, and thus they belong up here. I would say roughly here. I would say the Patriots have made themselves more important, just because you just don't get that with the same shit. Like, the way that they have made their 6 is insane and will go down in history as the greatest teams and dynasty of NFL history. It just will, because a lot of these wins for these Super Bowls are too separated. The 4 were in the 80s, and that's great. 70s and 80s, great. Then you get 2 very spaced ones in the 2000s, and then that's it. You know, I guess they weren't crazy spaced out, but they were spaced out. 49ers, honestly, I want to say maybe go down here. 4 Super Bowls is a really good count, right? Like, how many do they have actually? Let's double check. Because it was, I believe, because I want to believe that, it's 5. Okay. Yeah, because I want to say Joe Montana got, was Joe Montana 4 of those? Yes, Montana. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. So they had a 4 with Joe and then 1 with Steve Young. But I would argue that's kind of one era, and so, like, otherwise history-wise, like, they don't mean much. You know, they've had the Harbaugh Bowl, and that's the whole thing, and then they've been culturally relevant now. That's why, like, at least if anything bumps them from here to here, you know. But, like, historically, I don't know much else that they've really they've had. They have the 80s to early 90s era, and then they fall off super hard. Then they get Harbaugh, and then, you know, and then they throw that away, and then we get to the Shanahan era, where they have gotten close to greatness, but I don't think any more than any of these teams have added to the history of the NFL. I really don't. I don't think they've done any more than these have added to history of the NFL. I would argue Seahawks are kind of, it's part of me wants to put him here because I would argue modern Seahawks lore as an era, but realistically, I think they go here. If anything, maybe here. It's they have been around the NFL for a long time and do matter to its history in many regards as an expansion team, but like they didn't do anything with it until like the early 2000s first, where they made the Super Bowl, and then the historic game against the Packers with the we want the ball because we're going to score, throws an interception, a pick six specifically. And then the Legion of Boom is a crazy era, and that is an era in a way, but it didn't last as long as we think it did, and then they struggled a bit, they were very 500-y almost, same thing with the Buccaneers. I know the Tom Brady era feels a bit more, but I have to make the argument that they just haven't done much else with that. I mean, in a way, they're historically significant in the sense that they lost so bad that it was historic. Like, they were the first team to go. They were one of the losingest teams in history. How many games was it? How long was their losing streak? Sorry, I don't think they were the first team to go winless in a season. That is wrong. But what was the when was their first game? They had an 0-26 record. They did win a preseason game, but they finally won against, it was the Saints. Yeah, they won against the Saints. Week 13 of the 77 season. And won immediately after that again, too, to the St. Louis Cardinals. But I like how they lost to the Bucks. The Saints lost to the Bucks and fired their coach for it. I mean, granted, that feels apt, but they were actually finally building something at that point. But yeah, the Buccaneers were historically bad until what's his name? Why am I Gruden? John Gruden? Yeah, John Gruden. That was when they first reached success. So I want to put him here because I feel like historically the Seahawks have done more, but the Buccaneers do matter. They do matter. Like Tom Brady gave them relevance. John Gruden gave them relevance. But all of their relevance for history is post 2000s. And so maybe I would argue they should go here. Honestly, maybe even here. Yeah, let's give it that. I think that's apt. Titans maybe are here. I could argue that they would go here, but I want to say they go here. Music City Miracle, the following, just 1 yard short from winning Super Bowl. The whole thing of moving from the Oilers, like especially counting the Oilers, the McNair era. Let's put him here. I think actually remembering Oilers history, let's put them here. It's not all for historically significant, does not have to be for good reasons, right? You can have a team that's historically bad and that matters, right? The Buccaneers are a great example of this, right? This naming scheme is tough for this concept, for a historically relevant, but Like, I'll double check this when we're done with that frame of mind. But I'll put them here. I feel like they don't hold as much importance maybe as some of these, but we'll see. They were irrelevant for a very good chunk of time. The post skins commanders. I really want to maybe put him here with the Eagles and maybe mix these two, you know. They've got a lot of history though that matters. I'll put him here, honestly. I think they've got a lot of stuff from the various their involvement in various scab time and strike era stuff. To Joe Gibbs, to a lot of stuff. Honestly, there was a lot of stuff that their team has had a history in, and I think those matter. Those do matter, and I think without them as a team, if they were out of the NFL, I think it would truly matter. It would truly make a huge difference. I mean, they signed the first black starting quarterback. That matters, They broke the quarterback color barrier. That matters a lot, and so, yeah, like the first, I believe he was the first signed black starting quarterback that wasn't exclusively just let's see, NFL first. Okay, so we've got so the first one that played the position was Fritz Pollard in 1920. But Willie Thoreau played in relief. Also back in 1920, it was a little different. He was a player coach as well, which is otherwise different. So if we want to especially argue with the way that the quarterback position, what it actually became, because back then the quarterback really didn't do anything. They handed the ball off and then were a strategizer. That's why it's player coach. All right, the one that first started was Marlon Briscoe in the AFL, but then Doug Williams was the first one to start, play, and win in a Super Bowl. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, but that matters. That matters to that history. Hello, G Fox. Good to see you. We're going over American football history right now, so you came at a great time. All right. What do we want to change here? So I should think of I need to quantify. I do need to include if they were so bad that it was historically relevant, right? So Packers, they stay here. I think. I truly do think if they were out, the NFL just wouldn't be what it is. Same with the Cleveland Browns. They dominated early NFL, established what they were good. You're right. I think you're totally right. I think a Fox mascot would go hard. Better than some of the ones that exist now. I mean, shit, dude. One of them is literally just a lightning bolt. Yeah, I don't think any of their actual mascots are a fox either. Well, that's plenty. There's plenty of those. There's plenty of those that do that. Like the Titans mascot, like the animal mascot that they have at games, because some of these have mascots that are not like the team. For example, the Kansas City Chiefs, their actual like mascot that appears at games is a fox, or it's not a fox. Sorry, it's a wolf. Yeah, you put the fox in my mind. Sorry. The Titans have a raccoon. I don't know if the Commanders have one, to be honest. But yes, so Packers don't have one. We should get the Packers to do that. There's foxes in Wisconsin. They should. Everybody, the V2B community especially, we should come together and try to convince the Packers to make to make an animal mascot and have it be a fox.
Technically, deer would be more accurate, but I'm just playing around.
Yes, I know. I'm just throwing it out. I'm trying to get an angle. All right, Cleveland Browns. Yeah, I don't think they move either. I think because you could also argue that they were historically bad. You spelled hemisphere right the first time. Let's see. And then the Steelers, I think, are good. I think the Bears, I think, are more important than both the Cowboys and the Jets. I think that's valid. I think the Cowboys are obviously much more valid than the Jets. The Jets are only there because of Super Bowl III. So, well, right. But both hemispheres have, somewhere that isn't just tropical. Sorry. The Raiders, I think, do matter. I don't think they were historically bad enough. They were just bad. Not in a historical sense. The Gray Fox. Gray Fox. Sorry, couldn't help it. Cardinals have it's specifically their early stuff. I though maybe would argue that I'll put them farther back. Honestly, they could come here. I think they can go back. I think it just doesn't outweigh everything else. Everything with the Cardinals is way early history stuff for their historical importance. So that's why it's like, I think they just belong. They still belong in historic because they wouldn't matter. Nice. Enjoy your food. Again, that thing of NFL wouldn't be the same without them, but I don't think maybe in comparison to the rest on that tier. Dolphins have the undefeated season. That matters a lot. They've also just had a number of other historical events, so that's been important. The Colts leaving Baltimore, Super Bowl V, Johnny Unitas. Who the hell is Mel Kiper, which is, I know, kind of a negative thing, but that is historically relevant. They have mattered to the history of the NFL. New York Giants, mostly an era team. I think you could maybe honestly make the argument that they go down here. And I think I will. I think I'll bring them down. So, yeah. Again, want to reiterate for anybody watching. If the Jets lost Super Bowl III, but then the rest of history did end up playing out the same, they'd go here. Maybe up here. That's the only reason they're up there. I'm being honest. But yeah, maybe the Giants go down here. Because, they've got, I think 4. I want to say they have 4. Hold on, I'm trying to look. How many Super Bowls do they have? Well, pre-merger they have 4 championships. Post-merger they have 4 championships. Yeah. So, they have done a bit, so maybe they do belong here. So we'll put them there. Oh, I mean, honestly, these two also from a historic standpoint, the Heidi game, right? We that matters to televised NFL history. So that matters. Yeah, here is good. They've always been just relatively around. They've been around. Maybe the Bills have had less time than the. Yeah, because I would argue the historic level of choking. Oh, but the 4 Super Bowl losses in a row, that's big. That's a feat nobody's done before. And no one has since. All right, we'll put them there. Okay. Yeah, I'd say there's a realm of, you could argue, some historical bad could maybe bump the Lions up for their historical relevance. But we'll put him here. You know what? First team to go 0-16. We'll say that they matter a little bit more to history. So, just qualify here. Yeah, they've had some good years, but nothing super crazy, I would argue. Yeah, I think this is a good order. Because I think Drew Brees just brings them over these two. Maybe we could do this, though, because of that that historical bad. And then I think this is good. Yep, I would say this is me. This is what I would put. There is a lot of argument for how teams are historically relevant, but me being a very long time, I am a long time NFL nerd. I've looked into a lot of history. I have obsessively learned so much about every team. I do not make this list from a sense of complete bias, like recency bias or not. Honestly, if anything, I'm more historically biased. I'm less discounting of recent things than I am old things. So. Oh, this image is still up. Yeah, this one was bad. Get rid of it. Screw that image. Okay, let's see. Now we need now I need to just pull up well, actually I'm gonna save this quick. It didn't save. Why you don't save? There we go. Okay. I'll post that up later. Oh, now it goes, of course. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let me open up. I'm gonna load up the New York Jets schedule. 2026 schedule. I'd like to steal the image here. No, I don't want just home schedule. I would like the schedule, please. Okay, we'll copy it from here. This should work, hopefully. All right, hold on. I need a less gross version of this one, please. Can I open an image? No. Also, shout out to the fact that the Jets don't have a single primetime game in 2026. All right. I'm just making sure I get this all set up for people. Let's see. This won't be perfect look, but it'll work. All right. Let's slide on over again. All right. Here it is. All right. Here it is. Welcome to Sova Predicts. Jets fan Sova predicts the 2026 New York Jets season record. So this will be. This is where hope goes to die, which is by being a Jets fan. So we're gonna use a red color here. All right, so week 1 against the Titans. The Titans, I feel like, can't recall how great their offseason was. Let's see. I mean, they've got Robert Saleh, who came off a great year as a coordinator again. I mean, granted, we have experience knowing about Robert Saleh, but that is still a little tough. Trying to think of what any of their big signs would have been. Let's see. I mean, trying to think of that beginning. This is March. Sorry. March is the beginning of this season. Let's see. They got Jermaine Johnson. That's right. They traded Vontaze Smith for Jermaine Johnson. Don't think that's going to do a crazy amount for them. They signed Mitchell Trubisky. That's not going to mean anything. It's tough because it's kind of that realm, that classic realm of, is Cam Ward is he gonna be Cam Ward? Is it gonna be the player that they want him to be? And I don't know, honestly. I think I could see us pulling out a W here. This is going to be a fat L. There we go. That's going to be a big fat L. I don't even need to question that one. I think we also lose against the Lions. I think the Bears are better. I think we could pull out a W against the Browns. I think Shadur is going to really show who he is this year, which is not a great quarterback. Could I be wrong? Yes, but I'm glad he got humbled with the draft, but I don't think I never saw him show actually anything of any importance. I think there's a chance that we could go blow for blow with the Patriots. I know they were in the Super Bowl last year. I think that was a fluke. Frankly, I believe that was a fluke. They had the easiest schedule in the NFL and then got some of the easiest games in the playoffs. Yes, they did win. One of those was important, and I get that matters. But I truly think they're going to take a step down. This one I think will be a dub. I think we're going to trade this year. I think same thing with the Dolphins. I think it's just always the case for some reason. The Dolphins give us a run for our money. So this is looking good so far, to be honest. This is looking pretty good. Do I really think... realistically, I think this could be an L as well. Like, changing it over there. I think honestly though, I think maybe this will just be an L. I think I have less confidence actually now that I think about it. Now that I'm thinking about it. But I mean, who's the quarterback of the Raiders right now? I guess I don't even remember. Who's QBing the Raiders? Oh yeah, Mendoza. But they're gonna work with Kirk Cousins. Oh, do I think that they replace Mendoza with Kirk Cousins by this point? I think maybe we do take this as an L. I really think that the freaking Pats are a fluke and we trade with them. I'm gonna see. Honestly, I think here's what's realistically gonna happen. It's gonna start by catching people off. We're gonna have a good fall, and then it's gonna all fall apart. So I think they do switch by this point, and I think we take the L here. I fully don't believe Mahomes' leg is gonna snap in half a second year in a row. So we lose this game. We lose that one. I truly think we lose this game. I think the Chargers are truly getting better. It's just they can't find a way to finish it off, but I think they can. As long as they stay relaxed about things, I think they actually could still do it. So this is our trade. So I think we lose this one. We go into the bye. I truly think we lose this game. I think we could pull this off. I think their quarterback's looking good, but I don't know that they make it yet. But we could see. So then I think we lose this one. And then I think we could pull this off against the... I don't think Kyler Murray's going to take it. And then I think if they even move... And then if they start moving potentially to McCarthy, I think they still lose out. And no matter what time that this game is, it's an L. So that's hitting us with a win-loss record. Let's see, we got wins. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'd be going 6 and 11. Let's make this smaller here. 6 and I won't cover your face, big man. Sorry. 6 and 11, I think. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep. 6 and 11. That kind of sucks, to be frank. Now, games that I think I'm going to mark some games that I think could be surprise swings, right? So I think surprise swing, we could see a surprise swing here. Obviously this is kind of also iffy, right? This is iffy. This is interchangeable, but I think it still will be one for the other. So I'm just putting them where they are. I think we could take this game. if Mendoza doesn't work out. You know, somewhat does depend. New coach level. Will the coach mess up? Maybe we could catch him on one here. And then similarly here and here, I think we actually could find ourselves in a surprise win for a couple of these. So I would say in a realm of best case scenario, right? When I'm looking at his best case scenario, ones where I'm like, straight up, there is a chance that we win these games. While I may not think that they do, we could be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Best case scenario. So best case scenario, we actually flip it. I'll put it above your head again. Sorry, my man. I don't want to cover your face. We go 11-6. Best case scenario, we do actually get a winning record. We could go 11-6. That is barring everything goes right. You know, that's the thing, right? It's barring everything goes right. Truly, I think this is the realistic. I think this is the realistic one, right? Like I truly think this is more likely. So like let's peter our expectations here. We're doing this most likely. This is where we're going, but it sure is possible. I'd say it's within a realm of possibility that we could see this happen. Do I believe it will? Hell no. Hell no, do I think this will happen. But I think there's a chance. That's my prediction for the year. Not as bad as that one Dolphins fan that like thought they were going to go 2-15. The problem is I don't even think that we could actually like. The problem is if I wanted to be like, okay, now let's do a full doomer, right? Let's go full doomer. I'll make this dark purple. Let's go full doomer. Realistically, doomer, we go big L, big L, big L, big L, LL, L. Yep, that remains LL. L here. I'd say maybe this stays. I just don't have confidence. Same here. So if we're going full doomer, we have 2 wins. Actually, if anything, maybe I'll say that we still trade. Even in doomer scenario, we still trade with the Dolphins. And instead we go 3-14. Make that 3 better. Yeah. Full doomer, we go 3-14. That's like full doomer. Full doomer, we go 3-14. But the thing is, even if we go full doomer and we do only go 3-14, is Arch Manning gonna be the guy? Is he really gonna be worth getting? I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I really don't. But this is where I'm expecting the season to go. Agree, disagree, let me know in the comments. I'm sure people will hate it. But until then, see you guys later. All right, I'm not streaming. That was for the video. All right, that was for a TikTok. I'm gonna make this a TikTok later. All right, let's get ready to get into Dark Tide. Let me just get to this screen here. All right, let me close up some things. Not keeping that. Let's go here. I got to open Dark Tide. Let's get ready to go. Oh boy, I'll have to watch that in a second. Hold on. I have potential reaction content. I gotta hit this up 1 second. I have to do one more thing as well. Sorry, we'll get to it. We'll get to the reaction in a second. But I'm definitely doing things off camera that I cannot show. All right, I need to. Might hear it for a second. All right, we go here. All right. All right, I gotta just move. All right, I've been sent this. I got sent this. Hold on, I gotta pause I gotta stop the music here. I mean, which I need to do anyway, so it's whatever. I got sent this. When the Slanesh, when Slanesh music. You're on the battlefield purging heretics and you start hearing the song of Slanesh. Oh, this is what the warp of the background. This is what the warp sounds like. Me listening to Slanesh. Yeah, typical Nam music. That's funny. All right. Like I said, let's finally get to this. Man, there we go. That's the best part about how the sisters work. When the sisters land on a battlefield, like there are like ships in low orbit that will just play like just hymnal choir music. and they will just go into battle just singing with this just blaring it. So literally, it is like listen, like the sisters show up and like the Dark Souls music plays. Like, it is straight up. They show up and it becomes Dark Souls. I'm trying to hold my controller. I do want to actually fix myself here. I want to sink and then grow. I am growing. Okay. We'll go back into our Skitarii because I'm committed to him. I love my Skitarii. Although I think it's her. I think I made it a female. You wouldn't really know with a Skitarii, but what is being posted in my oh, just that stuff. All right. All right, now hopefully we don't run into this is the same settings I've had since. What you guys doing? Oh, he's sitting. I thought he was like crouched up to him. These are the same settings that I've had since the last time I played this on stream, so hopefully we shouldn't run into any issues. You know, I think there is a realistic scenario that could happen. If like we run into, especially like we ran into like in a post-apocalypse scenario, especially at least here in America. I think there's a distinct chance that there would be like a group of bodybuilder dudes that would just go chasing people with like clubs, bats, and whatever, blasting hot white girl music. Like, I think it's real. I think there's a real chance. You know, it depends on who, but I think there's a chance that the unicorn uniform it would also be correct. Oh, hello. Okay, I'm just coming right into it. All right. Hello.
Maybe it was wrong about you.
There is no lasting victory to be had.
I've appeared in a rather tough situation, it seems, so my bad.
We're mighty carkers, ain't we?
I'll fix that between games here.
I require thy charity.
Oh, hello.
There are holy deeds yet to be done.
Oh, sorry, I haven't really tried this. I forgot that this is the new weapon I haven't tried yet.
Medicaid station. I must have that.
No, I don't need that.
None. You wouldn't be hurt with a little danger on it. Only gamble with me like
I'm just kind of
never me money. What a miserable
seeing.
way
I'm
to
trying
carry
to.
on.
I'm shooting
Never
slowly because I'm
mind,
trying
I'll
to
find
especially
another
see
mark.
what's going on.
Take
Gimme,
her.
gimme, 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 gimme.
I guess.
You can take that, sure. I don't give a shit. I got the large diamantine. I mean, if you played Rainbow Six Siege and you remember the April Fool's thing from like years ago, where we had Unicorn Tachanka, it's basically that. Oh, I was shooting from behind the wall. I was like, what? Oh, hi. Oh! keep moving. I gotta make sure I wash up. Make sure you wash up, gamers. Wash up. Wash up. Wash up. Gotta clean the Nurgle off you. Yeah, no, yeah, there you go. Yeah, clean up. Clean up.
Bounty in sight. Gunner.
I'll take this one. Now that I at least have taken damage.
This has got big.
I find myself amazed at this unremarkable
You know,
world full
I think
of
a lot of teams in motorsports could take themselves just a little bit less seriously and play around with some things like unicorn liveries and like oh, I've got to show you. Hold on, I got to show you when we get in between games. Stick around. I got to show you the NASCAR kids drawing the liveries things. I've got to show you those.
Oh, you
coming?
really think you're something special, don't you?
I've got to show you those. Those are so good.
Yeah. but it's
Those are
always
just
the
fun
other
one-offs that
ones
they
you gotta
did. They're
watch.
so funny. Depends where. I don't know where it's coming from.
Once we're down for good.
Can't tell if that's friendly fire or
The
not.
door is uncooperative. Use magic box to make it more amenable.
Use magic box. Oh, hi. Good servo skull. Stunning him. Dude, man.
Data interrogation rate.
That's the thing, like, if I ever got, was able to get, become, big name VTuber, and then, oh, hi, and, make money and shit, dude, I would do stuff like that, 100%. And then I'd have, I would specifically be like, yo, we're gonna make, cause, there's not enough. Here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing that constantly gets me. I need to turn the game down. Sorry about that. Everybody shits on BWT as a sponsor in Formula One, and other than if I don't know if maybe they're a piece of shit company or something, and if that's the case, sure, fair, but if they're not, and if as far as I know, all I've ever known that people only have ever not like BWT as a sponsor because they make the cars pink. What's wrong with the car being pink? Excuse me. Why do you have a problem with pink? I think that's some bullshit. So that's my question. Is BWT people only not like it because, bro, you got to figure that shit out. Do people not like BWT only because it's pink? And because if that's the case, I'm more angry at Formula One fans than I usually am.
Data flow resuming. No interruptions. Omniscient be praised.
Let's get these guys out.
It's a mighty hectic right now.
I was hoping I was gonna be able to shoot that from up here. Oh, hi.
Holy rage to call it. Medicate for those in need.
You have some
That's got good range.
Completion imminent.
Fuck. Oh. Wow, the one I was next to didn't even ever go. I'm gonna need some ammo.
I suppose that you perform
Sorry.
with acceptable efficiency. May they proceed to coolant control, interrogator?
Oh, now she asks for permission. Granted with a smile and a song.
I love when they're sassy with each other. Tell you what I'm gonna do over here. Get some freaking ammo. Yeah, I knew that they were like a water company. They're selling small amounts of water. Wait, so they are giving people free drinking water? Sorry, I think we were in a weird, like, there might be some.
Wonder if you like. It's your funeral.
I was saying, I think there's some German words I think getting thrown in there that I don't know. Yeah. So what's wrong with that? That means they're doing cool things and they're fucking and they make your car pink. What's wrong with pink?
Together, he and I shall bring blessed light to this darkness. I always like to see where you're walking.
Fuck you.
That's not what I meant. It was a metaphor. I'm trying to help us see where we're going. Be silent.
The consignment yard is close.
Yeah. So what the hell?
Always a pleasure to see you.
Oh, hi.
Your leadership make a death strike.
Hello. Uh-oh. That sounds like a creature nearby. I want to get that gunner. I think I missed a. I think I recall seeing a healing thing. Well, they have been putting on French shit boxes before. They were putting on fucking. It was on like. It was on Force India / Racing Point.
To thy sinful nature.
Really, violence. You should have more faith.
I think there were blood. No, there were a lot of people who were complaining about it when it was on Racing Point. I remember that. Because I remember there are people who are like, damn, like what a great, like especially like like when Checo won, not Abu Dhabi, like what was it? Technically, was that one called Secure? It was when it was the outer thing of
Unleash
Bahrain.
necessary violence.
You know, when we went from last to first. That was like I remember seeing comments where people were like, "Damn, what a great race! Too bad, like, too bad he's in that ugly car." Oh, it's not a window. Coming now. So yeah, unfortunately, no. There were people that had a problem with it, which is annoying. Like, pink is great for liveries. I think people who don't like pink on cars are lame. Oh, oh wow! What a he didn't, it was going for me. Okay, I was like, damn, this sidestep! I can't believe that worked. No, because it didn't. Sorry, homie. Didn't see you were there. Could have waited a little bit longer. Oh my god, can you hit him? Every now and then I catch a server skull out of the corner of my eye, and I think it's and I think it's like I think it's someone, like a mutant or something.
Second objective. Initiate landing beacon for inbound reinforcements.
Uh-oh.
Purge the unclean!
Get over here, will ya?
My labors await!
I'm good. Keep fighting.
Oh, that's-
Objectives complete. Now all you need to do is survive. I'm sure you'll
Objectives survive. Just get to full health.
Hey, that's a
Come on.
proper conflict.
Let's have some fun. I was hoping more than would end up kind of running through that fire. Where'd he go?
Oh, won't forget this.
You are in suboptimal condition.
purge nearing completion. At last.
Have we got a plan for this?
Oh, hello.
Stand well back. Awfully brute. What to do?
You are still alive. More importantly,
We,
the train remains intact. I will order that you are
we definitely got to. We're might be a level low. This felt too easy.
I hope I'm understood.
Come on, jacket. All right. Okay, now that we're between, I can pull up. Let me. I gotta open something quick. Mechanicus Power Sword, nice.
I am told that careful use of compliments.
Do I have... I gotta check something.
Total obedience is required at all times. If this is burdensome, I can have someone show you where the airlock is.
All right, I'll have to do that later. All right. I want to set one thing here first.
I hear that Knight Commander Drago's making a real mess of heretics.
Proper officer him.
There we go.
Standing his turn on the
All right, let me find
My cuss, you know.
NASCAR.
We are no officers. We go where we're told. If you prefer to be assigned latrine duty, keep talking. Now hear this. Until further
What was that?
all rations.
I thought maybe there was a... I thought I remembered a thing.
This will continue until the supply situation improves.
Oh, there was something else. Was it Chase? I thought it was Denny Hamlin. Okay, here's a good one. So this one's nice. Okay. I mean, it's still nice though. Like, it's still a good thing to be doing. All right, hold on one second. I'm gonna try to show you. You want like a potentially great one-off livery for a car, right? Here you go. I'm gonna hit you with this. The Chase Elliott. This was designed by a what was it? He had 2 pediatric patients from at a children's hospital. So young sick kid designed this car, and it's glorious. Look at it. What a great one-off livery, you know. What an amazing one-off. Get out of here. Yeah, whatever. Look at this. Look at that. So good. And I mean, this is a good cause too. So like, this is literally a kid's drawing. So good. So good. I love that. There was one for Denny Hamlin where it was like a really young kid designed it, but I couldn't find it immediately, and I don't want to spend all my time looking.
Do not think of wasting my time.
All right, let me look here quick. I can't recall how much I like this versus this. What was it? It was because this is all right. So these are side that, whereas this Lots of strike downs. Few sweeps though. I'll give it a shot though. I'll retry this. Definitely moving from the pistol. I don't know if we want to go that. I know I don't really ever hit those, but I might as well try at least. Oh, there it is. Two burn stacks on critical hit. I don't mind that pistol though. It's just it's just yeah, I don't that'll be good. Just wanted something else. So what does this do again? Enemies within 12 meters are electrocuted for 2 seconds, stunning them as dealing damage. You and your allies in coherency regenerate 50% toughness. Gain 25 toughness. Ooh, that could be funky. In allies in coherency, grant 1 stacks of power overload. Sending or gaining a charge grants plus 5% toughness and capatience. Let's go this way instead. Oh, it's just not visually doing it. Okay. That's weird. Yeah, then we'll move down here because then I can go into that and then get this. All right, I can go right into it.
Hey Zola, the ship mistress is getting touchy about your rejects wandering about.
Oh, I can't even go up a difficulty yet. All right. Ain't gonna make me mad about it.
Ominous sire be praised. Tertiary assets have located a foundryplex in the interzone void. With access to such facilities, we can produce the Mobian steel of old, rather than the substandard modern formulation. Initiate contact with our informant, follow his instructions, and wake the foundryplex. Understood?
Oh, right in it again.
Enough with the complaining! Keep your eyes open! There's always trouble brewing.
What endangers you is trivial to me. I am death.
Yeah, that's right. Live or die. Indestructible cockhead. But you're better with me than without me.
I will never tire of this sight. Strive to be worthy of it, varlets.
In death! Obliged to you.
All right, hello.
Keep
Yeah, you
moving.
were about to lose.
Proud. Medicare Coggy.
Oops.
Grenade.
Hell yeah. I love my robot M1 Garand.
This is something of a tetchy mechanism. The synchronistas have a tendency to overload.
True. Should this happen, Violet, you must perform a manual reset or be forced to start again.
Oh, it didn't stun him.
You were too slow. Begin the sequence again.
Oh shit. Oh, the flamer. That sniper needs to get dealt with.
Say nothing more. I do not wish to speak of this. We have slain the sniper.
Oops, fat fingered.
You must not let the synchronistas overload. Do it again and strive for adequacy.
Rise up and fight, Coggy. We can still fight.
Oh, I need some ammo.
That synchronistas failing. Meet ahead.
Violet, you really must be more attentive. Start again.
Yeah, we're gonna be stuck here for a minute. Reload. Oh, so many gunners, so many heavy gunners.
Perhaps we could try for a little more urgent.
You know, I am working on it.
Hey, soldier.
Oh, we need a freaking thing.
Kindly don't stare. It's impolite.
When we get on the I'll put it down when we get in the train. We need to find... Oh, there it is.
Functions ended.
All right. I'll put it on when we get in the train.
Recharge is necessary. Find the battery.
Acceptable likelihood of failure down to
Ammo crate.
trust only.
Okay. All right, Homer. You fucked up. Could have healed.
Traitors have found this holy place.
No, I quite agree. Some unscrupulous bounder must have sold them its location.
Someone like you, perhaps.
I will not dignify
Oh
that.
boy, he's like struggling.
Send it to hell.
Remember that you tread holy ground. Serve the Omnissiah proudly until you reach grisly unfunction.
I'll linger here a while. I wouldn't want to get in your way.
Oh, there we go.
The screams of the enemy are trees. Yours are annoying.
Excuse me. Oh, I tongue off there.
This gun is so fun to use. I heard some grunting. I was expecting it to be a mutant. Oh, that's my man.
Rangers are gonna. This machine isn't dead, but sleeping. You'll see soon enough. It's gonna be on this one. Put together.
I like the sword. You know what? Big fan of the sword, actually.
Ammo! Quickly! You know what we need? Rattling snipers. Best marksman in the guard. Up there.
Rallying snipers mentioned. Let's go. Come here. Oh, speaking of sniper, well, he's gone.
Perfection belongs to the machine god. I am as I was made to be. I have no regrets.
This is the appointed hour. Let the ritual of awakening begin.
By which he means press the button.
Yeah, we'll get to pressing the button here in a second.
According to the diagnostic hymnal, the fault originates.
I don't know why it wasn't
somewhere
picking him up. That's fine. That guy was, so it works out.
Incorrect route. I should rejoin the strike team.
I'm working on it. I'm coming. I'm coming.
Heal up, Coggy!
Let us hope the malfunction is easily rectified.
How can it not be with such fine fellows to serve as our hands?
True, some of these varlets are almost competent.
I think she means me and my fellow Skitarii.
Varlets, smash sparkly eyes, machine will work. Understood.
Here she goes!
Son of a bitch. Oh, hi.
We have eliminated the hound. The machine god stands to witness your every failure.
Help me out, would you?
Your plea does not find favor.
What I like about this gun especially is that, like, while you are rewarded for definitely getting headshots
Function
and
is
crits,
restored.
the like center mass shot still does a bunch of damage.
In case you were wondering, I disabled the auto defense.
Good for you, man.
Thanks! For a tow man!
Storm Serpent touching down. Deploying package.
So the Skyfire is shut down. I never doubted.
Excellent. We may now begin the process of turning base alloy into famed Lolian steel.
Babe, the Mobius steel.
Things moving. I'll have the rest of the control.
I'm gonna wait just a little bit longer before I take that.
Now, that's not good. See if you can fix it.
Get out of here.
Leave me alone.
Where are you guys? Oh, I didn't get my servo skull off. Oh. Hello, friends.
Bloody thing.
It will soon be time for me to officially hit the I think I'll try using the arc rifle one more time though after this, just to see once again how they go. Got that collateral. Get out of here. Oh, they die? Can't go in there. Took them out. Very behind. We cannot seem to find any of the batteries.
The ritual is complete. Behold the glory of Mobian steel. I shall see it is put to good use.
All right. Ow. I need the Zemo pretty bad. stuck in the friggin' door.
Lights! Come on, quickly! For a Toba!
I forgot to put down my fucking. I totally forgot that I had the med kit. I totally forgot about that. That's my bad. All right. Paired transonic blades, eh? That looks like a fun weapon. Can't wait to try that out. Because, I mean, honestly, the sword was pretty good. I don't need to see any of the cuts. I've seen them enough. 200, that's good. We're still going to use this anyway. All right. We can go to heresy threat level assignments now. What I first want, though.
May I be of assistance?
Let's see. Do you have a pair of transonic blades first? 190. Nice. Okay. There we go. Play around with that.
A dagger behind every smile. That's Tertium. Stay out of politics, should it call.
Nice. Cool. We're so close to getting some of these ones that we like. I would love to have, like the cosmetic ones.
Earn.
Companion. Oh, that's sick. Yeah. These are cool. This is like a very classic design. This is kind of like a very, this one is like a John Blanche one. It's like very well known. This is sick though. Oh, yes, it's not behind a paywall. That's nice.
Prices are clearly marked and non-negotiable.
I was like looking at these. I always think they're kind of cool. Yeah, like more Navy, Imperial Navy. These are cool. Oh, they've done this. That's actually nice. Yeah, these are cool. I do like this look. I think it is cool, but it's not, wasn't worth buying to me. And then this I still actually do think is really cool and would be willing.
You be careful
But-
now, my darling.
Not enough. Not willing enough. Alright. We'll do, basically we'll end up doing one more mission here and then we'll probably call it a stream. I think we had a fun stream today. Not a lot for like clippable moments, I would say, but fun nonetheless. So I made some content, regardless.
I have been reviewing your record, Sergeant Major. Large sections of it appear to be missing.
Wait up a little bit. Nah, I'll just get right into it. Fuck it.
You're heading down into HL 7004.
I removed my controller on accident.
Local lingo. If you can't buy something now, it ain't for sale. Mobians have the place on lockdown. Anyone still alive down there is either a heretic or damned by association.
Oh, damn by association. Shit.
The district's illegal trade, including the Mobians' illicit stems. They could be connected to the blight, so we want a sample for study. Get in, get out, and do it quiet. May not look it, but you're in a heretic stronghold right now. Speaking of, let's see if this box hacker works.
Where's that Valkyrie? Give me a call, Spectre.
She's vanished from the Allspecs array, sir. Don't know where she went.
We'll see. I'll get close and we'll find out.
Days. Looks like Masozi got you in nice and sneaky.
Got all to win, all nice and snaky like.
You'll have to make your own entrance.
Demolition charge set.
You know how to make an entrance, I'll give you that. Find out drivers.
I want all response teams sent to the barracks at once.
Understood, sir.
Yeah, I believe I recalled that the arc rifle is really good in crowds. Oh, the reload is so long. I forgot that. I forgot how long the reload was. Oof.
I require you. Assistance halted. Untanked. We have slain Cutie.
Why is my toughness so down so much?
Functions have ceased.
My toughness is very low suddenly. Why is that? Why did it go down so much? I am soft as fuck. I will say though, this game is one of the most fun when you do just switch between a number of the classes. Like, but it can take so long to do the leveling that it's just like ugh, annoying. Oh shit! Yeah, I just straight up died. Why is my toughness so small? I don't think I can look at my inventory. Yeah. Can't look at my inventory.
Well, root them out of cover.
Ooh, getting a little laggy.
Can't leave you down, can I?
Why am I so laggy here?
Hello, metal legs.
Re-engaging battle area.
Get in that data stream.
A degradable is dead. Leave it behind.
Ooh, a little laggy still.
Self-restoration impeded.
Fight. Yes. Get that rotten gunner. Burst of function.
Why are there so many grenades?
You got the snipers. Get out of there before you're overwhelmed.
I think we've already been overwhelmed.
Serve the Omnissiah if properly directed. Do not know about that. That just killed. Then little additional direction will be required. No! That's a shame! What it took.
I like how the sound of the flamer getting their flamer ready is it just sounds like a freaking oven.
Wait for the brewery and see if you can lose them in the side streets. Dangerous place. Very dangerous. For you lot. Ammunition station.
Abandon courage. There is no enemy.
Oh hi. Oh. I really took that one on the chest real hard.
Sniper is dead.
Yo, I don't know why I'm dying so much. I feel like all I'm doing is I'm progressing through the level here. Get kind of frustrated.
I don't know what is. I don't know what's making it where like yeah, it's like my toughness is down. And was there like a toughness reduction? I'm a little confused by it, to be honest. I'm very laggy too. Yeah, it's very weird.
I wish you lot would make
I'm just staying here to see if I can get the whole system to calm down. Oh, damn. Damn. That's an unfortunate time for a boss to show up. This rock is a friendly one. Maybe turn something down a little. Oh, hello.
Out of ammo!
Yeah, I don't really understand this either, to be honest.
There you have a lucky rock, battle legs!
I don't know why this is suddenly so laggy. It was doing just fine beforehand.